Come on inside. Taking that ride to nowhere. We'll take that ride. I'm feeling okay this morning. And you know, we're on the road to paradise. Here we go. Here we go. There's a city in my mind. Come along and take that ride, and it's alright, baby, it's alright. And it's very far away, but it's growing day by day, and it's alright, baby, it's alright. Would you like to come along, and you can help me sing this song, and it's alright, baby, it's alright. There's a city in my mind. Come along and take that ride, and it's alright, baby, it's alright. And it's very far away, but it's growing day by day, and it's alright, baby, it's alright. They could tell you what to do, but they'll make a fool of you, and it's alright, baby, it's alright.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome, everyone. Hello, aggravated progressive.
Hello.
So, welcome to another episode. My microphone is like melting. It had like a melting smell, so I'm going to be using the laptop microphones. Hopefully, you can all hear me fine. I don't know what happened, Joy. I plugged it in like everything else, and then I walk away for 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden it has this burning smell. So
it was too hot to handle, bitch.
I guess so, yeah.
Too saucy. Too saucy.
Bring on the heat.
Too hot to handle, bitches. So what I know you have some big exciting things going on, but I don't know, what you want to say, what you don't want to say. So what have you been up to?
So certain things I'm not gonna say right just yet till
He's pregnant.
No, yeah, I'm pregnant. Yes, hot mics are dangerous to aggravated progressives. Yeah, it wasn't a good smell. It didn't feel like a safe smell. I was like, all right, I need to unplug this as soon as possible. So, but yeah, no, things have been going well. Yeah, I'm exhausted though. It's been a long week already, and we're only 2 days in. I don't know how I'm gonna make it through the rest of this week. But here we are.
Yeah, I am fucking beat. I started my new job last week, and I've been in administration for healthcare for over a decade. So I haven't worked physical jobs since my late 20s. And this job, the only place that would hire me is a physical job. So I am working in the back room processing things at a store, and I am literally doing 185 carton trucks and boxes that are 30-40 pounds, and standing on my feet all day and stuff. And I went from not working to 2 years to now doing this, where I am every fucking bone in my body hurts so fucking bad, and by the end of each day I'm ready to just collapse and cry from exhaustion. So yeah, physically it's taking a lot to try and build up that tolerance, but also it's the first job I've done outside of being a journalist and things like that since I started going blind. So this is very very new territory for me, and I am noticing I'm having to say some things to people like, I heard your comment and that's not okay, and things like that. I caught someone talking about me who happens to be my so-called superior.
Wow.
Things like that. So, and I've been there a week. So this is, it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's wearing on me. And to be honest, I'm not sure how long I can stick it out. But the thing is, I need the money so bad, and it's really, it's kind of like, well, it took me forever to find a job who actually would work with me being, having blindness. So if it doesn't work out here, like, I'm fucked, does that mean I'm never going to work again? And I'm having all these like thoughts and worries, and I'm just like, but the other thing that sucks a big bag of dicks is they're having me work 5 days a week, and it's fucking part-time. So I'm going in 5-hour days 5 times a week. And like, to me, I'd rather do like 3 8-hour days or something like that. But I'm literally going in 5 days a week. So that's getting exhausting as well. But, I'll try to stick it out as long as I can.
Yeah.
But
how often do they pay you? Is it bi-weekly?
It would be, yeah. I haven't gotten any yet, but hopefully Friday.
Okay.
I mean, it's just to supplement, my disability. But I mean, I think a lot of people, not our audience, of course, but I think a lot of older people, especially, they think, oh, people just go on disability and they just sit there and they don't do anything. And it's like, how much do you think we get?
Right.
Can't really live on that. That's why I'm taking a job that is causing me a lot of issues, because like, it's not like we're making like $2,000 a fucking month or something. Like, it's not, even comparable to what you make, doing your previous jobs. It's not. So, you kind of feel like you don't have any other choice but to take something. I swore I would never work retail again. I swore. I was like, I'd rather die than ever work retail again. Well, but at least I told them, deal breaker, no cash register. That's it. Done. Not even just because I can't see, but I don't like people. And so I'm mainly like doing what, they hired me for. So, but yeah, so I'm doing my best. What you gonna do?
Yeah. No, for sure. So we got a lot of topics. I feel like I say that every week. I mean, but we do have a lot. We have a few things.
This tonight is an example of when you want to learn things that other people aren't talking about.
Yeah.
You can come here because everyone's talking about the same things. So we're bringing you a few things tonight that we're not seeing anyone else talk about. So Andrew, why don't you bring up the first? Which one are we gonna do? We could do the DeSantis, since that was on the meme I made.
Let's start with DeSantis. All right.
Will probably run for president.
Yes.
And he will be so much worse than Trump.
Yeah, because he's actually smart.
And he actually has political connections.
Yes. All right. So, I don't know about you, but do you remember, like, where, conservatives have been touting this whole, like, keep your agendas out of education. This is education, not indoctrination.
Like critical race theory.
Yeah, like,
Which they don't even teach unless in your college.
Yeah, exactly. So turns out DeSantis as of yesterday, signed a law to require Florida to teach lessons on victims of communism. Calling it a blockbuster day for freedom, DeSantis on Monday signed a bill that would require public school students to observe Victims of Communism Day on November 7th. Wow, they got a specific day. So I wonder if are they going to get a day off for that? The new law, which went into effect immediately, describes the day as being geared towards honoring the 100 million people who have fallen victim to communist regimes across the world. The law also gives DeSantis authority to extend observance of the day beyond public schools, as it requires that Victims of Communism Day be suitably observed by public exercise in the state capitol and elsewhere as the governor may designate. Wow, it's going to be a miserable day, November 7th.
If I saw those signs, I would just be like crossing out the first 2 words and be like, Communism Day. Yes. Does it say what the symbolic nature is of November 7th?
I don't know. Yeah. It looks like that was just a day that they chose. And so, yeah, under the law, a curriculum.
We gotta research that because I want to see like, what if it's like Marx's birthday or something? It would be such a fuck you. It would be like, you're celebrating communism, you fucking idiots.
Let's see. Why is November 7th the Communist Day? Let's see if we find anything. Okay. Oh, here we go. So this is according to reason.com. It's a libertarian site. In addition to its growing popularity, November 7th is a worthy alternative because it is the anniversary of the day the very first communist regime was established in Russia.
Okay.
There it is. So that's the day. And so the measure will require the State Board of Education to adopt the new standards by April 2023. So maybe not this November 7th they'll be celebrating. It might be November 7th, 2023. So sorry to keep you all waiting. You have to wait another year before we celebrate that great holiday. Well, if you're in
Jenna Whoopty said her birthday was the other day.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mama. I love you.
So that's essentially that. I mean, Marx's birthday is May 5th. Okay, interesting. So yeah. We already kind of talked a little bit about our thoughts on that, but anything to add with that?
I mean, it's so incredible to me. Like it's going to be propaganda times a million. It's all going to be propaganda. But what we can hope is that there's at least 1 or 2 rebels in the class who are going to be like, you know what? That doesn't sound right. I'm going to look that shit up.
Right.
And then, who's reading theory?
Right. Yeah.
Question authority always.
Exactly.
And plus, like, if you don't like DeSantis and he put that law in effect, why wouldn't you want to research why that law is stupid?
Well, and that's a really good point too, because he's alienated so many Gen Z folks with the whole "Don't Say Gay" bill, right? Even people, because obviously Gen Z, particularly a lot of Gen Zs in Florida that live in like cities, right? They're not having it with all this stuff, right? And so it's already pissed off a lot of Gen Z people with regards to that. And then you're adding this bill. You're definitely going to push a lot of people to be like, oh, okay, I already hate this guy. Let me read more about communism. Right. Let me read more about Marxism. Let me read more about, go down the list. And who knows? We could have a radical generation in Florida just come out of
Like
nowhere.
maybe next thing you know, schools will be like, we're starting a commie club.
Yeah. They'll have to go to like, a secluded basement to study their commie clubs and
And then they'll be like, all of a sudden, like commie protests, like we protest learning propaganda on this day. We want to learn correct history because communism is awesome. And then they'll stand out there with their signs like communism always.
yes.
That would be amazing. That would be fucking awesome.
That'd be cool. So, this went from me being like, oh, this is so dumb. And I'm still like that, but this gives me a little hope that it might have the opposite effect, because if you demonize something to a certain extent, eventually people start to kind of be like, huh. It's sort of like when people are always like to teenagers, don't do drugs. They're the worst thing. And then what do a lot of teenagers do? They want to do drugs because now they're like, huh, now that you're saying I shouldn't do it, I'm curious as to what it's like. So maybe communism will be like the new don't do drugs thing, but then they'll actually...
They'll get a shirt that says, I did a communism. Mom, Dad, I did a communism.
This is a good, interesting question. Dot.com says, if DeSantis ever did run for president, what are the chances Tulsi would be his VP pick?
Oh my God. I have said that. Oh my God. Yes. Yes. Andrew, I've said that.
Yeah.
Like, and you know what? They would do well. Because Republicans love them some Tulsi. Alt-right love them some Tulsi. Love it.
Oh, yeah.
They would do well because you know why? Republicans, like, look at their, like, Fox News chicks. Like, they're all hot and stuff. And, like, Tulsi's, like, pretty. And, like, the Republicans haven't really had, someone, like, young and pretty run for VP that I can think of. So, like, she would do well in that regard. I think, like, yeah, I can see that in a heartbeat. She fits in way more, like, with them than she does with the Dems, because, I mean, they're both garbage, but she's certainly right-wing. There's no question about that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, ever since she retired from office, she's just exponentially gone to the right. And
she was always there. I mean, I've gotten harassed for 3 years for speaking truth on her, and people just didn't want to see it. And now, thankfully, people are like, and I'm like, it was always there. People just didn't want to see it. And now people are finally, I think many people are finally starting to be like, wow, like, I am having a rude awakening. Like, she's not changing. This is her. 100%. Like, this is her.
Cult of personality is going to kill us all. So, yeah. I also do wonder, one thing I'll say about this topic before going to the next one is, with all the, union and labor victories that have been happening, I know Starbucks there's like at 60 stores that have unionized now. Like, every day I'm seeing on Twitter at least like, and like, it's not just like close victories. Some of these Starbucks stores, they're just like, oh, we unanimously voted to unionize. Like, Howard
Schultz.
Yeah. Howard Schultz probably has worse eye pockets than I do right now. And so, yeah.
And I interviewed the two Starbucks associates last week from the first unionized store in Colorado, and their vote was 12-2. And one of them was because they forgot to sign the vote, but they wanted it. So technically it was 13-1. But yeah, I mean, that's not like even close to a tie. That's a big, a big deal.
Someone forgot to sign a vote?
What's that?
They forgot, like a worker just forgot to sign their vote?
Yeah, they forgot to sign the ballot. But the one person who voted against, they were just uneducated. They didn't understand. They were, the corporate comes in and tells them, well, you won't be able to do this if you're union and do that if you're union. And they just kind of like fell for it type thing. But, and so be it, it didn't, it still passed regardless. But that's why it's hard to really educate people. Like the corporate people at Starbucks were saying, like, your union dues are gonna take up most of your paycheck and stuff, and it's like 2%. Like,
not as much as I have to pay. You have to pay probably for your health care benefits because we don't have Medicare for all.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Oh man, when I was doing my taxes this past month ago or whatever, seeing how much was taken out of my paycheck for healthcare, I was just like, "Are you serious?" Because I'm lazy and I'm worried I'll make a mistake, so I just go to someone, and I was like, "Wait, my salary is that. Why does it say that?" And they're like, "Oh, because all this was taken out for healthcare." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
And you're a pretty healthy young man.
Right. So, yep.
Gross. Absolutely gross. Well, we have another topic that kind of goes into this. Jordan Sheridan sent it to me from Status Quo. It's hilarious. It kind of goes with this. So you want to play that clip, Andrew?
Yes. Let me make sure it's shared again. All right, here we go.
So this was an event for J.D. Vance, Ohio Senate candidate, author of Hillbilly Elegy.
I don't think racism makes any difference. If the media is offended, so be it. I mean, who could trust the media? They've sunk to such low levels that it's pointless. It's pointless. They're just another arm. I have no problem with liberals. At least they were for free speech. We don't see liberals anymore. It's 8 to 12% of the Democrat Party that are far left Marxists, and it's the rest of the party that refuses to call them out.
What made you want to support JD?
He's the toughest on the border. That's the issue that really bothers me the most. The illegal immigrants coming over here.
And has that affected Ohio a lot? Because obviously there's been a lot of jobs sent elsewhere.
Sure that it has, with the drugs and everything, And I don't want them living in my neighborhood. I don't want all those people coming over here in my neighborhood.
Okay, so first of all, if the Dems had any far left Marxists, we'd all still be in that party. And it's incredible the way that so many Republicans label the Dems as socialists and radical, and it's like, no, like the whole point is they don't want people like us. That's the point. You're saying, you're giving them credit. That's what it is. You're giving them credit. That is a compliment to be radical. That is a compliment. And you're giving it to them, and they are Republican light.
There's this Facebook page. It's called I Wish the Democrats Were Half as Cool as Republicans Make Them Out to Be. And this is and it's literally posting shit like that, where just like, oh, I wish, like, I wish there were more Marxists in office. Oh, that'd be cool.
That would be fucking awesome. Oh my god. They're like, AOC is a socialist communist. Actually, she's not. She's a mini Nancy Pelosi. Please start A, labeling these people correctly, or B, create these people if you're going to attack them. If you're going to say socialists and communists, let's get some in there. Come on. Rally
And
up.
it's also fascinating because they don't realize that they associate people who hate free speech with far left or leftists, where in reality we're the ones who typically, like, we hate what you say, but we at least want think, you should have the right to say, maybe minus hate speech, what you're saying, even though we don't agree with you, because we realize we're the ones that are next. If
Who
you
are
just
the people fighting for Julian Assange?
right,
Not
exactly.
the Democrats.
So
Bananas, absolutely bananas. And like, if you're going to talk about free speech and such too, why do we have all these independent media channels? Because we fucking hate the MSM. And that guy, the first guy, he was like, the media are, and he was bashing the media, and it's like, yeah, we agree with that.
well,
So it makes no fucking sense.
and that's part of the problem, right? Is because they associate CNN and MSNBC as far left because they don't really see what actual left looks like, because it doesn't exist in our mainstream medias, right? And so then we get into the whole suppression. And so, yeah, when I hear things like that, my first reaction is, holy crap, you are bigoted and ignorant. And then I'm also like, you're also terribly misinformed, and I can't blame 100% of it on you, because you are fed propaganda 24/7, and you come up with that, and you have a right to be frustrated with the mainstream media. You're just frustration is completely misplaced in terms of it all. So and how the
Did you
mainstream
catch the
media
shade from Jordan? Are a lot of illegal immigrants coming into Ohio?
I know.
Like, and she's like, yeah. Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're really traveling pretty far up there.
I'm telling you what, if I were an immigrant, I would come to the United States to go to Ohio. That is exactly where I would go. Not Texas, not California. I would go to Ohio. Hands
Maybe
down.
they just like want to break from all the, nice warm sun, and instead just like the whole lake effect, gray days and snow. Maybe that's an experience that
Could be. Yeah, I mean, I think it's, there's maybe a likelihood that woman meant black and brown people and thinks they're all immigrants, but who knows?
Who knows? It's one of those things where it's like, do you really want to ask why more? And if you do,
I know, it's like, she was so blatant that I don't think she could have said anything else. Like, what else is she gonna say?
I wish I had that confidence with points that I made. Like, man,
I don't want them in my neighborhood.
We need to secure the border, and he's the best with securing the border.
And that's what's funny. Like, the guy who Jordan interviewed first, he didn't even say anything about the candidate.
No.
He's just like, I hate such and such. And it's like, okay, but you're here for a rally. So, like, what do you like about the dude you're, rallying for?
And that's the thing. I mean, we built up a culture, particularly in these past 5 or 6 years, where it's all about what you hate and less about what you're for. And this is how we collectively continue to get gaslit, is because we are just so focused on outdoing the other team. And then how does that help us? How do we win from that? So
absolutely. Well, Amy
I'm actually from Ohio too, Jenna. What? Sorry, what?
What's that?
No, Jenna said someone is from Ohio. I'm sorry. I don't know who, but yeah, I'm actually from Ohio myself. I was born there.
Ah, you are?
Yeah. A little fun fact. Cleveland, Ohio. But yeah. So
I forget what I was gonna say.
Huh?
Could have been that important.
You are Jenna. You're from Ohio. Oh,
That's right.
I wonder where.
And now she's in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, Cleveland. I was born there. So Ohio holds a special place in my heart, despite
Despite all those immigrants.
that was not what I was gonna say. Despite people who have takes like in that video where I'm like, dang, I used to share the same state with you.
That's what I was gonna say. Amy Klobuchar, who I will never stop making fun of and asking her about her snowstorms ever. I say it to her at least once a day, and it never gets old to me. It's fucking hilarious. I think so anyway. And she's been saying things like, you know, remember when Obama was like, don't boo, vote. And it's like, that was like one of the most infuriating moments. And she's been doing things like that, like, don't just get mad, vote. And I'm like, give us something to vote for, not against. You guys have the Senate, the House, the White House. And what are you doing except giving Nazis a bunch of fucking money? Like, what are you doing? Nothing. You are making things worse. But yeah, no, just vote for us. For what? More of the same? So we can keep, you know, exacerbating this hell? Fuck you. Hell no. Hell no. I'm not voting this month. Nope. Not doing it. I don't give a fuck. There's no one I want to vote for. Who the fuck am I voting for? You don't support Medicare for all? Oh, really? You're not getting my vote. I don't fucking care. I don't care what you're running for. I don't care who you're running against. That's my litmus test, if you want to call it that. You don't support Medicare for all, you don't get my vote. Period.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. For the Senate race in Pennsylvania, I was briefly watching Fetterman in a debate, and he didn't even seem to. He was kind of saying some milquetoast thing where it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm for giving people more healthcare coverage, whether it's expanding the Affordable Care Act or Medicare for all, and I'm like, okay.
He does not support Medicare for all. I've personally interviewed him.
Yeah.
Jenna was friends with him for years.
Oh.
Like, we know him personally. I've met him many times, and he is not for Medicare for all. His wife was a Biden delegate.
Oh.
He is not for Medicare for all. He never has been. So that's why his answers sounded iffy. And, you know, I see people who aren't in Pennsylvania on Twitter like, yeah, you guys vote for Fetterman. And I'm like, okay, is it because he chased down an unarmed black man with a gun? Is that why? Or, you know, maybe another reason? He's got a lot of great things going on. But unfortunately, it's very much like he's, you know, he looks like an outlier, you know, as like huge dude, tattoos and stuff. I fell for it at first too. I was like, oh, cool. We need someone who looks more expressive and doesn't wear a suit and, you know, things like that. And then the more I started learning about him, I was like, no, I will never vote for him. No.
Yeah.
Let me see. What does Jenna say?
Well, apparently, yeah. So Jenna says he supports fracking, and
people call him Frackerman. I even asked him about it in my interview.
And what did he say?
He goes, and I go, so once and for all, do you support fracking? And he goes, The thing is, and I'm like, no. Do you support fracking? It was like pulling teeth for 5 minutes. I finally got him to say no. And it didn't mean anything.
No.
But I finally got him to say it. And it was the night before the election. I'll never forget it. It was at 10 p.m. the night before people voted.
Whoa.
And I was just like, look, a lot of people call you frackerman. A lot of people don't like how you stood on that stage and you praised Hillary Clinton and you shamed anyone who dare not vote for her. I didn't. And I let him have it. I was just like, I don't have any ass to kiss. And I didn't vote for him either.
Honestly, that's like one of the litmus tests. If you really want to test to see how progressive a candidate really is, mention Hillary Clinton and see how they react. If they start like kissing her ass, nope. I remember, this is kind of digressing a little bit, but I remember back in 2018 in Massachusetts, there were a few different governors running to try and unseat Charlie Baker. Everyone knew, because, you know, Massachusetts loves their Republican governors, long story. So it knew it was a long shot. But there was this one guy who was pretty progressive. And he literally said on the stage, I'm the only candidate here who voted for Bernie Sanders. That's when I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. One of the other candidates says, wait, I want to address something that was said here. Hillary Clinton was a great candidate. She did X. And he was like, I hope you all voted for her. And I was like, what? And when you look at the policies on the surface, they all were kind of similar, right? But then when something like that happens, then you're like, okay, now I know you're not worth. And he literally dropped out like a couple weeks later after that. But that's
Who was the candidate who said that he voted for Byrne?
Bob Massey.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah, I think he's a very genuine, and he's done a lot of great historical activism and such. Yeah. And just one of those people where it's like, the Democratic Party's not going to let you join them. So, yeah.
Yep.
No. So, all right. Should we talk about some of the Roe v. Wade protests and like some of the pearl clutching that has been happening?
Oh my God, I can't. It's like my fucking shitlib parody book is like real. Like it's like I now have to move it to nonfiction.
Right, exactly. So this is just anti-pro-life protest. One of the scariest things I've ever witnessed. This is what a reporter said. Douglas Blair, a news editor for the Daily Signal. I literally just tweeted and I said, damn, this reporter must not get out much at all if this is the scariest thing that he has ever witnessed. And so, yeah, do you have
I was under Bosnian sniper fire, just like Hillary Clinton.
So I just want to show, just for comedy relief, I want to real quick show a video of what these protests look like so we could just see for ourselves.
Knitting circles.
Yeah. And hold on. Shit, I can't find it right now. Yeah, feel free to talk, Joy, and I'm going to find the clip in a second.
Knitting helps everything. Yeah, baby.
Knitting is not there.
Whoopty, I love you. Happy belated birthday.
So, okay, here we go. This is it. All right, we're back, everyone. We're back in action. All right, so.
Yeah, Jenna is blocked by John Fetterman, which is actually illegal. You can't.
Of freedoms.
Sorry. Continue.
You can't, as an elected representative, you're not allowed to block anyone, especially a constituent. And Jenna is blocked by Fetterman.
Well, doing something right, Jenna. If
Exactly.
get blocked by a public official. So yeah, let's just show some clips of, I guess, what is terrifying scene here that this reporter witnessed.
Okay, do you want my real response or you want my polite response?
I want your real response.
Fuck them!
Fuck him putting his hands in our uteruses. We are here to tell him he does not get to be safe and feel comfortable if we don't.
I'm intruding on their privacy. He's intruding on my personal right of freedoms.
At his intrusion into our bodies, into our healthcare, and his egregious, to use his word, theft of our rights deserves an equally dramatic response.
They're taking their rights. I'm not going to be nice. I'm not going to just roll over and be like, oh, sure, you can have my rights. No, I'm going to come here and I'm going to demand my rights. So he's using his Catholic religion to intrude on my rights. I need to be polite and not upset his neighbors.
I don't think this comes anywhere near the level of intrusion that he is proposing.
People are getting doxxed over being pro-choice. People are getting doxxed over getting abortions. And people that I know personally are getting doxxed and having their addresses leaked, their phone numbers leaked, and being sent death threats.
Or anything that we can do to stop the status quo, to demand that they pay attention to us, because clearly other ways are not working.
So again, I said, fuck them. I'm not being polite. I'm going to be loud and boisterous, and I'm going down with a fight.
The judges should leave us the fuck alone, and then we'll leave them the fuck alone. That's the end of the story.
Wow, I'm scared, Joy. Are you?
I'm trembling.
That was traumatizing to watch.
Well, I mean, that woman was a woman of color.
Right, and she was not happy.
She was not happy.
So, yeah.
Oh my God. So read what the dude said, that he was so scared.
Yeah, so he said the article.
Yeah.
All right, let me
Oh man, I gotta fucking troll this dude.
So Douglas Blair, a news editor here. Let me pull it back up again. So Douglas Blair, the Daily Signal. I've never even heard of that. But I guess he went on also Fox and Friends and talked about how scary this was.
Probably calls them all Antifa.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, they're acting like a bunch of liberals. Like, in a sense.
Right?
So
they're missing the pussy hats, but that's the only difference.
Yeah, well, you know. Douglas Blair, a news editor for the Daily Signal, said the anti-pro-life protests outside the Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh's home were one of the scariest things he's ever witnessed. Blair was on Fox and Friends Monday this morning. He called the protests an attempt at intimidation and pointed out the Biden administration's failure to condemn the demonstrations. Said Blair, "I did not see Justice Kavanaugh. My hope is that he wasn't home. My hope is that he was safe with his family somewhere else, because it was genuinely one of the scariest things I've ever witnessed."
Pray about it.
Watching these people yell and scream and try. Oh, and they said some curse words too, I think, right? There was like fuck in there, right? That one woman was wearing a mask, so I know that scares some conservatives too, because it's like, oh man, you're wearing a mask. Like, what? Everybody's gonna wear masks now?
Hiding.
Yeah. Watching these people yell and scream and try and change the vote of what is most possibly the most important vote in the history of the country, the right to live your life and to have a human being survive in the womb. Trust me, friends, I've seen these wild leftist mobs in action as well. The first time it was chilling. The hatred was palpable. I honestly felt that the protesters were demon-possessed. That's not an exaggeration. I'm literally reading some of this for the first time, by the way. This is absurd. It's time to stand in prayer against these forces of evil. If you are called of the Holy Spirit to counter-protest, to do so covered in the armor of God, as described in the New Testament book of... Are you serious? What are we reading?
I gotta send you something right now that goes with this. I'm gonna send you this because it is just like too perfect. I saw this on Facebook and it is like it should be in this article. Let me see.
We are living in some wild theocracy right now.
Here, I'm texting this to you.
Okay, you're texting it to my phone number?
Yeah.
All right, I need to get my phone because it's being charged over there. Give me 1 second.
It's so perfect. So, like, a lot of people say, well, Republicans care about unborn fetuses, but they don't care when they're born. What's different with the Dems? What's different? They're fighting for Roe v. Wade. They're fighting for this topic harder than they have ever fought for anything in the past decades. They are going bananas about this. It is incredibly important. I'm not saying it's not. What I'm saying is that they are literally fighting harder for this than they are for healthcare, for homeless, for hungry, for jobless, for any other cause whatsoever. This is like virtue signal bullshit.
Yeah.
Did you get that, Andrew?
I did. Yeah. Do you want me to read it?
Can you share it?
Yeah. Let me copy it and put it on. Yeah. And after this, I want to show there's a very interesting article that, I mean, we really only need to read the headline because it basically says everything of Susan Collins.
Oh, yes.
Karen Collins calling the cops because someone wrote when it came to pro-choice, something pro-choice message in chalk near her home.
That's some scary shit.
Yeah, we can't have that. What's next?
All I saw was Susan Collins called the cops, and I'm like, oh my God, was a black person walking by her house. That was my immediate thought. It's like, oh my God, Karen, stop.
Yeah. Yep. Susan Collins, but according to some of the libs, she's one of the good Republicans. So here we go. Sharing. All right. The word of God makes the devil scream. My favorite Bible story is the one where pro-life God drowns everyone in a flood because he got mad. My favorite part is when a guy said he sacrificed himself for us but could only stay dead for 3 days. My favorite pro-life God story is the time he kills the firstborn of every Egyptian family instead of just ending slavery. My favorite pro-life God is when he tells, okay, and then he cuts off.
I just thought it was so fucking brilliant. Like, it just sums it up perfectly. Like they say, the Bible. There is more fucked up shit in the Bible than I've ever read anywhere.
It's awful. Yeah. It is one of the, if not the least inspiring book I've ever read. Like, I tried at one point just to see, I tried to kind of get into it, read just to see what people saw in it. And every time I'd be like, what? How is this inspiring?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, to each their own. I mean,
But when people are like, I abide by the Bible, I'm like, so you decapitate people and eat people and jerk off horses and like all this weird shit.
Yeah. There's this book, and I forgot what it's called, but I read it years ago, and it's literally about this dude who, like, I think for like a span of 90 days or so, sets off to try and live as close to as the Bible says you need to live, just to see like what happens. And it's a very humorous book because he literally just like, he's like, oh, it says I need to wear certain types of fibers and I'm not allowed to wear others. I need to go shopping and I have to get rid of all my clothes that are, like, and it's just wild to the T how he tries to get it done. And like, yeah, it's fascinating. He's like a dude that's like an atheist, and he's like, all right, I'm going to give this a try just to like see what happens if I just abide to the Bible to the T. It's a great book if you're ever looking for just like, yeah. And it's thought-provoking too, of course, because you're just sort of like, oh, the Bible says that, and he's trying to, yeah. So yeah. But wanted to also bring up the fact, because I think, yes, this is funny, but I think also it's important to realize that within like a span of like 2 days, the Senate unanimously passed a security bill for the Supreme Court family members, right? Which, I mean, I think, first of all, I'm not saying like the family members should be brought to the stake or anything, right? But I think this does show, and I'm going to show this article real soon, it does show how they work for the elites, right? Whenever anyone who is in the elites is uncomfortable, very quickly, we're passing a bill for you, right?
This is some AOC shit. Like words are violence. This is some AOC shit.
Right. Yeah. So.
And you know what? I don't know if people know this, but in 2017, a guy threatened to decapitate Bernie, and he was in federal prison for 3 years. Did people talk about that? No. But someone writes an outline in chalk? Are you kidding me? Dude literally sent 2 letters to Burns' home and 2 letters to his office in Vermont, all saying, I'm gonna decapitate this Jew, Bernie Sanders, blah, blah, blah. Went to federal prison because of it. I saw one article about it. But yeah, somebody put a chalk writing. So let's do a unanimous bill, like right now, for their families.
Yeah. It's wild. And yeah, the Senate on Monday a lot of things happened on Monday. The Senate on Monday easily cleared a bill to extend security protections to the immediately family members of Supreme Court justices. The bill, spearheaded by John Cornyn and Chris Coons, passed Senate by unanimous consent, meaning all 100 senators had to sign off. Get out of here. So, all right. Yeah.
I don't have as much of a problem as people voting it as I do have a problem with people who saying, let's create one and draft it right now because this is urgent. Exactly. That's what I have an issue with.
When you couldn't even get nearly that much support for stimulus checks to go out. Right? Like, they're acting like this is a crisis when in reality, these people are just protesting outside of homes. They're not vandalizing. At least, I don't know. Have you heard of any vandalizing? It's just they're with signs, just yelling a little bit. And this is actually really interesting, Joy, because I don't know if you knowing this, but Michelle Wu, who is the mayor of Boston, She has been, I think it's cooled off because of, COVID restrictions, but she was getting a lot of protests against people who were against mandates outside her house. What did the city of Boston do? They passed an ordinance. Luckily, my city councilor voted no, but they passed an ordinance saying that protests could only be done outside of public officials' home from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. They limited the time they could do that, right? And so now I want to see, and actually somebody posted on Twitter, which I really appreciated. It's like, I think it's time we ask Michelle Wu what her thoughts are of people going up to Brett Kavanaugh's house and protesting, right? Actually, let's test to see, now, because I know you're pro-choice, right? So test to see, is it just for things that you agree with that you think, oh, people could protest? Oh, but if it's for you, so yeah.
And isn't Brett Kavanaugh the same dude we all hated and wanted the worst things to happen to, and now we're like, oh, please protect him.
Right. Or we get tweets from Billy Crystal being like, now is not the time for this violent protesting. Organize civically. Engage. And it's like, really, dude?
Bill Crystal with a K, not Billy Crystal. Let's not
that comedian. I haven't heard from him in a while.
You know what I want to bring up too? Maybe 2 months ago, whenever it was, when Obama was doing his celebration for 12 years of Obamacare, abomination is what I call it. But anyway, he was doing his 12 years celebration. Don't forget where he was. They were standing outside of a Republican's residence. So
yeah. So that is that. Gretel says, but they don't produce. Oh, sorry. But they don't produce bills that protect water protectors at Standing Rock. Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a clear example of who Congress really works for, right? Congress is not divided. They're just protecting the ruling class interests. There was no divide when it came to protecting family members of the Supreme Court judges and Brett Kavanaugh, right? And we have a very efficient system. Within 2 days, they got a bill protecting them. So this whole Congress is broken BS, no, it's not. It's working exactly as intended. It's just not meant to work for us.
Yeah, there was a lot of bills, they'll be like, well, we're going to have to bring it for some amendments and there needs to be some changes and stuff. This one, sign it. All good.
Yeah. Oh, 100 votes. Cool. All right, we're good. We're good, everyone. And that's the thing. Imagine if you were to vote no on that, how much the media would be doing 24/7 hit pieces on you saying, oh, they're treasonous. They don't care about the lives of legislators, right? Or not legislators, Supreme Court justices. I mean, so it's just.
And then you would have them at your house.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah. We were going to do one more story, right? We were going to talk about James Cromwell supergluing himself to the counter of a Starbucks cafe in New York City.
Yeah, I mean, I love me James Cromwell. He is awesome. He was actually at Occupy DNC when we were protesting the convention. He went to Standing Rock. He's an amazing person. I'm kind of curious what you guys think about this, because when I saw he super glued himself to a Starbucks, I immediately thought, oh, okay, because unionizing. But that wasn't really why he did it.
So, yeah, give me a second to pull.
Yeah, I want to know how you feel too as a vegan, like what your take is on this.
Well, I'm not a vegan.
Then you don't matter.
Yeah. So, Oscar-nominated actor. Hold on.
You're not sharing it, Poopy.
Oscar-nominated actor James Cromwell glues himself to Starbucks counter video shows. Oscar, yeah. So it was in New York City to protest the chain's policy of charging extra plant-based milk. The protest began shortly before 10 a.m. Eastern, according to live stream footage, which was shared to Facebook. We should try and get that footage and just show it. After gluing himself to the cafe counter, Cromwell, who has appeared in Babe, loved that movie, LA Confidential, and Succession, read a prepared statement in which he denounced Starbucks' vegan milk upcharge, calling it harmful to the environment and discriminatory towards those who suffer from lactose intolerance, which affects people of color at a greater percentage, according to the National Institute of Health. When will you stop racking in huge profits while customers, animals, and the environment suffer? And so, yeah, that is essentially what happened there.
I have no idea that it costed more at Starbucks to do a vegan coffee. Did you know that?
No, I mean, I'm honestly not a coffee person, so like,
me neither. I've never been to
tell you one
Starbucks,
drink
but
other than coffee that Starbucks serves. Like, I'm just honestly, I hate coffee, and I'm not about the Starbucks vibe. I mean, I don't really even like going into Starbucks, to be honest. But I support the workers' right to unionize there, and I will happily support. Yeah.
That's
But
a really good, point that he was making, though. So it's vegans and also lactose intolerant, which affects people of color more than anyone else. That's really interesting.
Yeah, and I honestly didn't know that.
Yeah. Jenna Whoopty, what do you think as a vegan? Did you know that they charge? Well, you probably don't go to Starbucks, but did you know that they upcharged for, like, first of all, being more environmentally conscious? Yes, you have to pay more. That's bananas. I had no idea. Like, it's going to be more expensive if you want to help save the planet and you want to be, more kind to animals. You're going to have to pay extra.
Yeah. I mean, hey, to be honest, out of a lot of issues that I'm passionate about, I would say this particular issue, it's not that I don't care. It's just, I'm not the most, it's just one of those I'm not the most passionate about, but I support him doing it. And I'm not going to lie, I was hoping too. I was like, is this one of the Starbucks that got unionized in New York City too? Because like that would just be amazing, where it got unionized and now we have James Cromwell going in and being like, oh, and you suck also because you're upcharging these plant-based products. Like, so it made me laugh. It made me smile. Like, I thought too, it was like, oh, is this some union thing? And I'm like, oh, this is different. But hey, like, I'm all for making the people at Starbucks, the corporate leaders' lives miserable in any way, shape, or form. So,
I think it was actually kind of ingenious in the respect that Starbucks has been trending nonstop.
Yes.
So what better time to bring awareness to something like this?
Exactly.
If he did this few months ago, people would be like, I'm a fucking fruitcake. But like now, since everyone's already talking about, Starbucks, I get it. I mean, I agree that I am more passionate about other things, but
yes,
now we're talking about it. I didn't know that. You
Yeah.
didn't know that. And now we're
Exactly.
talking about it.
Yeah. And it's just more of a reason, like you were said, to put Starbucks on notice to the general public. And fun fact, I really enjoyed learning about this fun fact. So obviously we know he was in Babe. Since he's been in Babe, he's been a vegan. So that movie actually caused him to be a vegan, which I think is very, it's touching.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, and I think I was seeing an interview too, and originally he didn't want to be in Babe because he was like, this dude's got like 10 lines. And then I think one of his friends was like, no, you should just do it because it's very fail safe. If the movie flops, it's not your fault, it's the pig's fault. And so he was like, you know what, you're right. So he went over to Australia where it was filmed, and the rest is history. And apparently the movie had a huge impact in his life and how he sees, and in some way led to this protest that he just did. So
that's awesome. Well, he's a badass. I love James Cromwell so much. He has been, like I said, when you have an Oscar-nominated dude like protesting with us in Philly at the 2016 convention, like, you fucking kidding me?
Based.
He was hardcore. So yeah, I mean, he's like a hardcore activist, has been for decades. So
yeah,
he's definitely a badass.
Yeah.
So what do you have coming up?
Yeah, so check out earlier today, me and Z, we interviewed Dr. Rami, the funky academic. So check that out on the People's Voice Network. Subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, we got more we got a panel coming up tomorrow night as well, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So come check us out. And yeah, Joy, what do you got going?
So I do have an exciting update on, some of you guys know I met with Roe, Congressman Ro Khanna in DC last month, about 3 weeks ago. He asked to meet myself and a few others from March for Medicare for All to talk about Medicare for All and our concerns and such. And I brought all of my medical bills from the past 2.5 years, which are over $15,000 with insurance. And we talked to Ro for over an hour. And I, basically proposed doing a medical debt cancellation legislation. I said that, Bernard ran on that. That was on his 2020 platform. And Ro was a co-chair on Bernie's campaign. And Ro was like, is that something you'd be interested in? And I said, yes. I said, we hear about student debt 24/7. And while it is very important, like, medical debt is the number one cause of bankruptcy. It causes homelessness. It causes deaths, and I'm just trying to explain like the severity of medical debt and how nobody ever talks about it ever. So
yeah,
he's like, well, I'll reach out to Bernie and see if he wants to work on a bill. And I was just like, okay. And I was just like so shocked and everything. And 3 weeks later, he emailed us. He has reached out to Bernie and it's in the works. So
awesome.
I'm kind of blown away. it's kind of surreal that our conversation led to legislation being drafted. What's that?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, so yeah, like 3 weeks later, he's like, yeah, like we're drafting it right now. And so it's kind of crazy that I thought it was important to bring my medical bills, but I certainly didn't think in 3 weeks' time it would be like, oh yes, Bernie is writing a bill on what you requested. It's pretty insane. It's pretty humbling and it's pretty amazing. And I'm super proud of it, and I will keep you guys updated. And you know, I have a lot of issues with Roe, but I am very appreciative that he reached out. He was the one who asked us to go to DC and meet with him. He reached out. And then also, he officially offered to reach out to Byrne to do legislation. So the fact that this wouldn't have happened without Roe's involvement. Now, some people will say it's election year, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But I'll be straight up. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what the intentions are. I don't fucking care. I don't care if it's because it looks good, because he's working with activists. I don't give a fuck if it's for election time. I don't give a fuck if it's for credit with this, that, and that. I don't give a fuck. The fact of the matter is, I was listened to, and now legislation is being worked on that I asked about. That's all that matters. If that legislation is proposed, I don't give a fuck what it took to get there. I don't give a fuck. I don't need to know people's intentions. I just want it done. So, you know, I'm getting a lot of pushback like, oh, well, you know, it's only because, look, I'm fucking proud. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't know anyone else who has accomplished such a thing. So when you're a disabled person, a newly disabled person, and you get asked to go speak to a congressperson, and all of a sudden what you wanted is being worked on in legislature, I'm sorry, like, I don't give a fuck what the reason is. I don't. So, you know, I mean, I really don't give a fuck about the naysayers. I'm happy about it. And even if it doesn't pass, which is certainly possible, at the very least, it's going to get people talking about it. And nobody ever talks about it.
Yeah.
So even if, hey, we're proposing legislation, even if it fails, people will be like, oh, medical debt, and they'll actually start talking about it. That, to me, is its own victory. It may be a small victory, but as someone who's passionate about it and suffering because of it, I find it really important that, you know, the idea that people could soon be talking about it on social media and things like that. That's very important to me. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so that's the update. I'll keep you guys updated, you know, if I hear anything else. But also Friday I am doing a Chasing Shadows with Amira. We are going to dissect Kurt Cobain's death.
Ooh.
9 p.m. Eastern. We are going to discuss the irregularities in so-called suicide and all of the facts pointing against murder.
Yeah.
Essentially. So we'll be breaking all that down Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. There is also Saturday. There is a huge worldwide Indigenous celebration on Saturday, and I will be I am talking to 2 people who are organizing from 2 different tribes. They are planning on either joining me tomorrow night or Thursday night, but they are organizing the Indigenous celebration, so it's huge.
Great.
So I definitely want to give them time, a platform, promotion, all that fun stuff. So tomorrow night or Thursday night.
Excellent. Cool.
Yep,
And
yep.
so thank
And
you
then
all.
we're told that next Monday, Logan will be joining us.
Yeah. So we'll get to see Logan again, like old times. But yeah. So thanks for everyone for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in on Tuesday. I know we usually do it on a Monday, but you know. And yeah, we'll see you. We'll see you next time.
Thank you all so much. Much love.